Hello,
Hello, it's Carmen.
it's Julie, and we're talking about designing instruction today.
Okay, so our learning objectives for today is to build deeper understanding of how to align instruction with learning objectives and assessments.
Key terms. So, instruction is the act of teaching, typically associated with imparting knowledge to others. Instructional design is the practice of building teaching. And we would argue through careful consideration of how students learn and what materials and methods will most effectively help individuals achieve their academic goals.
So why is this important? Instruction should be designed to meet learning objectives and help students achieve on assessments. That is really important. This is why teaching and the foundation is embedded in these types of instructional practices. And for you as a participant, this is going to help you gain an understanding of a wide range of approaches to designing instruction.
Where do we sit in the training paradigm? This module explains how to design instruction, and this includes opportunities for students to engage and co-learn. So we're in the learning environment, learner practice, and peer co-learning and co-teaching part of our paradigm. Let's just talk very quickly. You've seen this before. If you need a refresh, pause and read. Again, we're working from course goals to curriculum and instruction. How will you assist students in achieving goals and objectives is the focus today. We're focused on designing instruction. Gagne's model of instructional design is going to underpin, and by the way, we had to look up, how do you pronounce Gagne? It's Gagne. There are 9 steps to Gagne's instructional events model, and we're going to walk us through those 9 events today.
So the first one is to gain attention. So you want to capture learners' attention, a sense of relevance and importance. And so we have a list of a variety of different things that you can do, and I'm going to talk through some of them. So surprise, the brain is attracted by novelty. So do something unusual, unexpected, something to arouse curiosity. That is a good way to gain attention. Humor is another way. The brain rewards laughter, and Julie and I laugh all the time.
We do.
So help students laugh in class. Stimulate attention by using laughter. Another good way is hooks. So stimulating questions that stimulate curiosity. So pose a provocative question. Think of something that's related to your subject matter that you may have just saw on a podcast or read in a newspaper or seen on the news. That is a good way to kind of hook students into the course material and the learning.
I think we can do the other ones. So use oddities, arouse the brain by breaking patterns, share odd facts, anomalies, or events that are discrepant. Make predictions. So the brain rewards our successful predictions. So encourage students to make predictions and seek further insight. And then opinions. Elicit opinions. People always like to share what they think about something. So ask students to discuss something that's going on now or controversies. Each of these are approaches to capturing attention, to gaining attention, and there are many other ways to do that. Next, we want to make sure that we inform our learners of the objectives of the instruction. Go back to our writing goals and objectives modules. You want to set clear and specific learning targets. And if you'll remember from our prior learning, each learning target or objective should have a condition, the circumstances under which people will be asked to perform, the performance itself, what's the measurable and observable behavior learners are going to be able to do, and the criterion. How are you going to know whether or not mastery has been demonstrated?
Number 3, stimulate recall of prior learning. So activate learners' prior knowledge and experiences related to the new learning material. So as you see these 3 circle guides, you want to be able to talk about, what do I already know? So where are students starting from? What do I want to learn? And what did I learn? So using a know, want, learn kind of perspective is a good way to kind of simulate or recall a prior learning. You may also want to do something like anticipation guide, as you can see here. Where you say a statement, you have people say whether or not they agree or disagree, and then have a conversation about it. This is another way that you can stimulate the recall of prior learning.
Absolutely. And that sets people up to begin to learn. So you're going to present the material during that learning. You're going to share new information to learners. It needs to be organized and it needs to be engaging. So we've been pretty organized, right, with this model that we've talked to you about over and over again. Course goals to curriculum and instruction with objectives and assessment in between. There's lots of ways to be engaging. You will have seen some modules already on how to engage students. You can use muddiest points. You can use teaching with drawings. You can use concept maps. These are 3 examples. There are many ways to engage learners. Organized and engaged is very important as we're presenting.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk
Okay,
about this.
so I'm going to continue with presenting the material. We like to trade off, but I'll continue. So one way to think about material presentation is also through Dale's cone of experience. So basically with this model, and we're introducing you to multiple models of learning and teaching. There's passive approaches to teaching and there's active approaches. So passive approaches include things like reading, hearing, seeing, and watching. So reading text, listening to lectures, seeing videos, or watching, as you would say, walking through a museum exhibit. Some active approaches to teaching are participating in doing. So encouraging students to engage in discussions or to problem solve, say in a lab. You should be thinking about what kind of experience you want students to have as you're teaching them, and that will help you decide which of these approaches or multiple approaches you might want to use.
Number 5, provide guidance. So supplement the content with instructional support materials. So for example, you can have a lecture that you may give, but then you may want to supplement that with some of the things that we have here. So we have print, which is your textbook, online readings, study guides, audio, which can be a podcast or a lecture, visual, which can be images, graphs, photography, audio visual, which is slides, film, television, or electronic interactive, which is computers, models, or online interactive. So the point is, when you're providing guidance and you want to supplement your content with instructional support material, to use different types of instructional material for the same content. So you may do a lecture, you also provide something that's audio, and you also provide something that's video. That is the best way to provide guidance for your content.
And you want to be able to provide multiple opportunities for individuals to learn the material. Then the next step is after you instruct and after you provide materials to support, you want to elicit performance. You want to let learners demonstrate their understanding and apply that learning to realistic situations. In demonstrating that understanding, students will think, they will observe or watch, they will feel in a concrete experience, and they will do an active experimentation. You don't have to use all 4 steps of Kolb's learning cycle, but it's useful to think about what you really want learners to be doing. If they're only thinking, are they eventually going to be able to do, or do you need to help step them through the observation, concrete experience, active experiment stages?
Number 7, provide feedback. So provide positive reinforcement and corrective feedback. And this falls right into line of formative assessment, which we hope you have already watched that video prior to watching this one. So again, being able to provide that positive instruction, that positive reinforcement during instruction, giving your learners immediate feedback, just-in-time instruction, and you can use that in a variety of different ways. Here we have quizzes, homework, presentation, but as you know from our previous videos, there's multiple ways that you can provide feedback.
Next, you want to assess performance, and this aligns with summative assessment. The providing feedback and the assessing performance just like formative assessment and summative assessment can sometimes look similar. Summative assessment, assessing performance, can look similar to the last slide. So you want to capture the learner's attention in the summative assessment. You want that summative assessment to provide a sense of relevance, and you want students to leave having done that assessment, understanding the importance of what they've learned. Again, you can use a variety of ways to assess that performance, such as exams or course portfolios. If you want to remind yourself of this formative and summative assessment a little bit more, we encourage you to go back to the writing assessments module. And finally, the 9th step.
Go ahead, Julie, take it home.
Enhance retention and transfer. Apply what the student has learned to the real world and help enhance a student's long-term retention. This is where the teaching case studies, which are a focus of QMRAIV, will come into play.
And so now it's your turn. So again, read this objective and take 10 minutes to think about how you will use DesigningInstruction's 9 instructional events in engaging learning. So take about 10 minutes, go ahead and pause the video, and then come on back.
In conclusion, learning objectives lead to assessment and lead to instructional design. Careful design can lead to more effective learning, and there are many theories that exist for helping you build effective courses. We've covered a few of these in the module today. Thank you, Carmen.
Thanks, Julie.